It's like they want to know how you still standing when you done been through everything you done been through. After you've been physically abused, mentally abused, verbally abused, spiritually abused, financially abused. You see what I'm saying? They want to know how you still glowing. How do people still want you? See, they believe you now. See, they believe who you are now. But guess what? They don't like you still. They still don't like you. You see what I'm saying? It's like these people, they don't like you when they didn't believe you. But now that you done proved them wrong, now that you done changed the narrative on who you are, and now they believe you, now they hate you. You see what I'm saying? They can't stand you now. And they believe you will be who you are. They believe you can become who you are. You see what I'm saying? What you do to somebody when it don't affect them, they still mad at you. It's like when we used to get whooping back in the day. If you get a whooping and you sit there, you don't cry, then they start going hard on you. Why? Because they want what they're doing to affect you. They want to know that they affected you mentally. They want to know that they affected you spiritually. And when you don't, they believe, oh, they can get through it. Because I done put the pressure on them and they still didn't cry. They still stood up for themselves. They still looking good. They still glowing. People still want them. I thought it was over for them, but people still looking out for them. People still checking for them. You see what I'm saying? After everything that I done put them through. And I find it sad that we got a group of people in the world to understand this.
I want you all to remember that this system, the United States system, is not all powerful. Nor is white supremacy. As a matter of fact, white supremacy is going to bring this system down, at least in my opinion. And as you think they got it sewn up, not enough people are doing anything, I want you to remember these words. We, black people, are still here. They began to aggressively start colonizing Africa in the 1420s, and we are still here. Between the 1420s and the 1800s, they murdered hundreds of millions of people in Africa, and we are still here. Across this planet, the Europeans enslaved us for more than 600 fucking years, and we are still here. The place that was first the colonies and now the United States enslaved us for 400 years, and we are still here. Germany tried its genocide that it did on the gypsies and the crippled and the LGBTQ and the Jewish people. They first did it in Africa, and we are still here. In this country alone, we went through Jim Crow, segregation. And the problem when people say segregation, they seem to think, oh, it was just a separate but equal thing. No, it was violent, it was chaotic, and we are still here. They formed this thing called the Klan that swept across the country. White folks was joining that thing everywhere. And they lynched us practically every day since 1868 until around 1968. We are still here. Police violence, assassinations, destroying our towns, stealing our inventions, trying to starve us out. They didn't give this country universal health care because not only were they afraid that black people would get it too, but they figured if they didn't and added copay to everything, we would die out. We are still here. America was not the first place or the only place to sterilize our women, and we are still here. They have tried everything. They want to get rid of us badly or subjugate us badly. And we are still here. Now in America, the worst of the worst of the Caucasian persuasion is going through backflips to find excuses to unalive black people, people who disagree with them, the LGBTQ, trans. But to black people, I'm not saying that trans, LGBTQ, the rest of them are not resilient. But I think we're going to survive them. First off, the truth of the matter is, I'm not looking for white allies. But I do realize that not enough white people agree with their agenda. The powers that be want these white supremacist groups to start attacking us. They want MAGA to start offing people in droves. And I don't think they're going to get away with it. I want you to defend yourself, not simply because I want people to live, but also because the only way we are going to stop them is to fight back and take them out. To let them know the price of their white United States ethno-state will be, you're going to have to bleed for it. If you want to change this country into this weird paradise that never existed, fight us. And that's the only thing that's going to push them back and stop them. But I think they're going to try. I think a lot of us are going to be unalived. But I also am thoroughly convinced, because I know history, that no matter what they do short of dropping a nuke, we will still be here. And so before you think they are all powerful, I want you all to remember that no matter what they've done to us, we are still here, and we will still be here, because they're not supreme, they're not superior, they're not the default anything. They're losers. Because if they had their way, we would not be here, and we are. Try to remember that no matter how bad it gets.
Hi family, how you all doing? Welcome back again to my channel. My name is Olivia, in case I just seen my face for the first time. I hope you guys are doing very good. So family, you know what is crazy? Like, after everything Americans have been through, I mean Black Americans have been through, you know, the slavery, segregation, police brutality, like all the discriminations they faced, they are still standing strong. You know, still working hard, still chasing their dreams, and still finding ways to love and support each other, even when the system tries to tear them down. That's miracle and that's power. Okay, that's what a lot of people will not do. Okay, people don't understand the strength that Black Americans have. You know, waking up in the country that you built and then get disrespected is a whole lot. But still, then you support each other, like you show up for each other, you love each other. That's amazing. Okay, that's Black Americans are not just surviving. Okay, they're pushing, they're living their dreams. I think all this proves that no matter what life, society, government, everybody throw at them, they're going nowhere, baby. They will not fall. They will keep standing. They will keep shining. Okay, let me not take much of your time, honey. Let's watch this video together, family, and of course let me know what you think about my Black people. Okay, and we'll get back after a while.
What can you threaten Black people with that we haven't already lived through before? We already couldn't go to your schools. We already couldn't live in your neighborhood. We already couldn't shop in your store. We already had to sit in the back of the bus. We already filled out your jail. We already had our zip codes redlined. We already had our votes suppressed. We already had our families separated. We already had our men profiled. We already had our women objectified. What you think you gonna do new that's gonna be able to intimidate us? Black people got soundtrack music. Yea, though we walk through the valley of the shadow of death, we will fear no evil. It is their master plan to make you live in fear, so you don't fight back, so you don't lift up your voice, so you don't kick against the prick. Fear is the only weapon that white supremacy has.
You gotta watch out for those people who bounce back from everything. Those are God-chosen people. And there's nothing you can do to stop them. Dang.
African Americans have been bludgeoned over their heads mentally and spiritually for hundreds of years and are still surviving. They couldn't understand it, and they said so in their book. The answer came out in 1996, why it is that not only have African Americans survived the worst mental and spiritual bludgeoning of any people in recorded history, but they are becoming champions of everything in which there is a level playing field. No matter what it is, we predominate in every field. This is why they won't teach our children African history, because they know that once our children get on the same level playing field as their white counterparts, that they will dominate just like we dominate in basketball, baseball.
Mae Mallerie didn't just fight back. She made the system nervous. She fought for black kids to get a real education, stood her ground against white supremacists, and didn't believe in turning the other cheek. And for that, they made sure she paid. Let's talk about how the government tried to break her and how she refused to fold. Meet Mae Mallerie. Before she was a target, Mae was fighting for black kids in New York. Schools were segregated and underfunded, so she and a group of mothers, better known as the Harlem Nine, boycotted and sued the city. She won, but the government, they took notes. A black woman organizing against the system? That made her dangerous. So they framed her for a crime that she didn't commit. In 1961, Mae took her fight south. She linked up with Robert F. Williams in Monroe, North Carolina. This is a man who believed that black folks had every right to defend themselves. That's when the government made their move. The FBI accused Mae and Williams of kidnapping a white couple, and the so-called victims were never harmed. The real crime was that Mae had dared to fight back. Knowing the South wouldn't give her a fair trial, she fled to Cleveland, but the FBI tracked her down and locked her up. She was thrown in jail for over a year before they even brought her back to North Carolina. An all-white jury, not a jury of her peers. They sentenced her to 16 to 20 years in prison. The message was loud and clear. Black people who fight back are gonna be punished. But Mae, she didn't shut up. She kept writing, she kept organizing, and kept calling out the system, even from a cell. Eventually, her conviction was overturned because black jurors were illegally excluded, but they had already stolen years of her life. Mae Mallerie wasn't just a fighter, she was a revolutionary. She went toe-to-toe with an entire system that was designed to keep black people down. And even when they tried to bury her, she kept resisting. That's why they don't teach us her name. But now you know it. And trust me, we're not going to forget it. Say her name. Mae Mallerie.
Child, imagine having a head start and you still losing. But here's the plot twist. You think you winning. My grandma would say, bless their little hearts. 'Cause white supremacy really think it's winning. But baby, they made the people that's gonna beat it. Now stick with me. You ever work out with weights on, put on a weighted vest and ran laps? That's what racism did. Put weights on our backs, weights on our ankles for generations. But you know what happens when you work out with weights or a weighted vest? Oh, y'all know. It makes you stronger, skilled, faster, resilient. Baby, the weights didn't break us. They trained us. Baby, they've been sitting back with a 400-year head start, kicking their legs up, thinking mediocre is a trophy. Meanwhile, we've been in the trenches, baby, getting it out the mud, creating, learning, building. And baby, that's why our excellence is a transferable skill. That's why we keep showing up better, smarter, louder. And baby, this ain't just talk. Look at the wealth gap. That's proof right there. The system is stacked. But despite that, black entrepreneurship is still growing. Black businesses are still fueling communities, our art, our music, and culture. And the world, baby, they still trying to catch up. Child, they rig the rules, they cheat, they rewrite history, and they still losing. Bless their little hearts. You got Karens and Kens watching everything we do like it's a mystery. It ain't no mystery. It's resilience. It's resistance, love, family, community. That's black culture. That's black excellence. So yeah, it looks like we're going to have to keep those vests on for a little longer. 'Cause baby, the race ain't over. But they done messed up. They underestimated us. Big mistake. Black history is the movement. Every day. Happy Black History 365. And I'll see you next time.
Eve was black, and that is why the black woman is the most oppressed in our nation today. Because they fear the power of the black woman. The black woman is the blueprint to all life, and has been the blueprint societally as the beauty standard for centuries. And the reason why the black woman, specifically here in America, is so oppressed is because they fear the power that the black woman holds.
Like I always say, I appreciate my struggle. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't change it for nothing. Everything I went through, it made me what I am today. You know what I'm saying? So, growing up how I grew up in Chicago, so shout out to the trenches.
What can you threaten black people with that we haven't already lived through before? We already couldn't go to your schools. We already couldn't live in your neighborhood. We already couldn't shop in your store. We already had to sit in the back of the bus. We already filled out your jail. We already had our zip codes redlined. We already had our votes suppressed. We already had our families separated. We already had our men profiled. We already had our women objectified. What you think you gonna do new that's gonna be able to intimidate us? Black people got soundtrack music. Yea, though we walk through the valley of the shadow of death, we will fear no evil. It is their master plan to make you live in fear so you don't fight back, so you don't lift up your voice, so you don't kick against the prick. Fear is the only weapon that white supremacy has.
Black women, we can't rest because we're trying to save everybody. We're trying to be everybody's savior.
Yes.
For me, I'm not responsible to be people's savior.
Yes.
I am responsible to point people to the savior.
Yes.
By the way that I live my life.
Yes.
By the way that I greet people and treat people. Because see, some people, even when you say point them to the savior, that means that they need to have access. They feel that that means they need to have access to you anytime and every time they feel
Yes.
that they need to have access.
Yes.
We can't rest like that.
Think about it. They've earned their shit. Black people are getting where they're getting to. Why aren't black women the most educated in America?
Most educated.
And this is coming from you not letting black folks read. It was illegal for black people to read. This is from black women slaves being raped every day and worked on medically with no anesthesia. And they're still the #1 in education. What is that saying about your race? You're mediocre at best. You had a 100-year head start, and everybody's whooping your ass.
You're going to get your behind in trouble.
I'm ready for the smoke. I got my shoes on. What's good? I'm just saying historically.
I like it that you're telling the truth.
I have white friends that are educated about this. You got Tim Wise. You ever heard of Tim Wise?
Yeah, Tim Wise is an old friend.
This is what I'm saying. Tim Wise.
By the way, they hate him.
You got Jane Elliott that are speaking to George Carlin was one of my favorite comedians. So there are lots of whites that know this knowledge. It's like this panic is coming from. The wool is being pulled out over. You know, people are saying, shining a light on, you've been mediocre all this time. And I'm not saying there aren't great white folks and smart white, but a lot of your shit has been unearned.
What I love about black people is that we are fucking resilient. Resilient. We've been through countless struggles, and not just us, but our ancestors, people that we come from. We've been through so many struggles, and we're still here, we're still standing, we're still thriving, we're still going, we're still changing the narrative. We're so strong, we're so powerful, we're just amazing and beautiful, and I know it can get better, and I know it will get better. We got this. I wanted to get that out there. You know, here it is. This is Black History Month, and 365, you know, as long as you got it. So the cards are stacked high. When you start adding that up and you still see people thriving despite, it says a lot. So be well, stay beautiful, stay black, and peace.
The fact that black people never got reparations and we still came out thriving is kind of crazy. Because, like, yo, they really set us free, and we didn't have shit, not a pot to piss in. We didn't even have our last names. The family we came with, who knows where the fuck they were. And we still ended up being doctors, lawyers, presidents. Like, do you know how great you gotta be to overcome some shit like that? Like, we came from nothing, bruh. Like, we didn't even speak this language when our people got here. Like, do you understand what I'm saying? That no other group has been capable of this. No other group. And I just thought, like, yo, if we did get reparations, y'all think the Jewish folks own everything? Oh, we would have been unstoppable, bro. We would have been unstoppable. Y'all still trying to stop us to this day.
Black women are expected to bounce back from everything. As Black women, we've been taught to always be strong, be unshakable, be the one who figures it out. But naturally, that is pressure, and it's exhausting. Like, every time you tell yourself, I'll start over Monday, what you're really doing is just repeating the same cycle over and over and over again. You're telling your brain it's okay to quit on yourself, as long as you look like you've got it together. It's important to know, though, that not showing up for yourself isn't failure, but it's actually breaking trust with the woman that you're becoming. And trust me, I get it, because I used to live for Monday too. New week, new plan, but the same pressure to be perfect. But looking back at it now, starting over every week just kept me stuck in survival mode, performing strength instead of practicing peace. Now, here's the truth. You do not need another comeback. You don't need to start over, but you do need a reset. Because the strongest thing that you can actually do and what you have control of is stop pretending you're fine and start rebuilding from rest and not pressure. And that's exactly why I created my 7-day reset. Now, most programs tell us to grind harder, but mine actually helps you unlearn that all or nothing mindset. The same tools that had me stuck as a former all or nothing girly turned coach. Now, this 7-day digital experience is going to help you rebuild consistency and also your self-trust. It's going to help you rebuild all that through grace, structure, and small doable actions that actually fit realistically into your real life. And no, it is not a PDF that you're just simply going to forget about. It's actually an interactive experience that you can access from anywhere. And it's designed for women who are just tired of bouncing back, but finally ready to build something that is going to last. Girl, you've carried enough and you don't need another fresh start. You need a reset that was built for you. Comment the number 7 and I'll send you the link to start the 7-day reset. And I don't mean next Monday, I mean start today. Your strength isn't in how many times you start over. It's in learning you don't have to anymore.
And I know you're going to love this here, President Cosby, and then I'm done. I know what they wonder. What else can we do to them? We have tried it all. Nothing seems to work. Enslaved for 100 years, that didn't break them. Black codes, that didn't break them. Jim Crow, that didn't break them. Lynchings, that didn't break them. Mass incarceration, that didn't break them. What manner of people is this? We have tried everything, and still they rise. We have committed every possible atrocity we can think of, and still they rise. We have disenfranchised them, and still they rise. Made it illegal for them to read. They went on to be the presidents of HBCUs. Still they rise. We redlined them, and still they rise. We placed them in food deserts, and still they rise. We dropped crack in their communities, and still they rise. We divided up their families, and still they rise. We denied them adequate health care, and still they rise. Denied them reparations, and still they rise. We broke down their institutions, and still they rise. How? How is it possible that they are still standing?
Black American delineation has nothing to do with anti-African, anti-Caribbean, or anti-other Black nations. It's about preserving culture, preserving inheritance, setting aside a particular group so that they are not forgotten. They don't want their ancestors, the sacrifice of their ancestors. They don't want the sacrifice of their people to be forgotten. You say that they don't have culture. You say that they don't have identity. And when they decide to set themselves apart, you say that they shouldn't. And no other culture is expected to absorb everybody else except Black Americans. You don't go to Jamaica and say, you got to accept us as Jamaican. You don't go to Haiti and say, you got to accept us as Haitian. Everybody else can have their identity. But when it comes to Black Americans wanting to set themselves apart, you say, oh no, you guys you're xenophobic, you're Zionists. No, stop gaslighting them. Are there some extremists? Yes. But that doesn't represent the whole group. It's important that this group is set aside because they do have an inheritance. They have a special tie to this land and a special history to this land, and they deserve that observation.
Something we don't talk about enough, in my opinion, is slavery. And you're probably like, I think we do. We definitely talk about, no, we don't. And on our Juneteenth, I'm going to talk about it a little bit more. Did you know that slavery lasted 400 years? Not one, not two, not three, 400 years. It is estimated that about 12.5 million men and women were taken during this trade. I can guarantee that is way more than that, considering the amount of people that perished just on the way to the Americas, and considering the fact that in certain colonies, specifically in South America, it was cheaper to work an individual to unalivement, which was about 3 years, than to have this individual live the full term of their life. And the reason I feel we don't talk about it enough, and the reason I feel like I want to talk about it, is because I want to first change how we talk about slavery. I don't want to talk about these individuals as enslaved people. These were human beings. These were mothers, daughters, sons, husbands, children that this happened to. And additionally, the fact that slavery isn't something that we talk about with extreme seriousness in history school, and we don't approach it the way we approach the Holocaust, quite frankly, is crazy to me. The fact that Black people across the diaspora, when they bring up slavery, when they bring up the plight of enslaved people, are met with, well, it's done. Like, we didn't do this to you. We've done all this stuff to correct issues. This lasted 400 years. And not only did the actual transatlantic slavery officially last 400 years and take more than 12.5 million people from the continent, its effects have rippled through time. Segregation, the way that till today we see Black people, Black bodies as inferior, which is ironic, because the reason it worked, the reason you enslaved us, is because we were so strong and so capable and so hardworking and so durable. But today we are told you are the bottom barrel of everything. You are less than us. It is, as someone who isn't even African American, I am from Nigeria. I'm telling you that Black bodies, Black people did not stop being exploited after the end of the official end of the transatlantic slave trade. Colonialism happened. There's still exploitation on the continent today, making me an immigrant to the United States. I don't think we talk enough about slavery, because when the conversation comes up, it should come up from this angle. The West, the developed world was built off the back of Black bodies. All this money you earned was during the transatlantic slave trade. Europeans, the Americas, made so much money off of slavery, because when labor is free, imagine if you had a company and you didn't have to pay anybody. You just had to pay for the raw materials and technology. People made so much money hand over foot off the labor of Black bodies for free. But God forbid we talk about slavery for 2 seconds. I don't think we are as gung-ho about it as we honestly should be. But on Juneteenth, Juneteenth, I want you to think about this. I want you to think about what happened to Black people, what happened to Black bodies, and to stop talking about these individuals as enslaved people. These were human beings. These were mothers and fathers and brothers and sisters and children and siblings. These were human beings.
I thank God for the people who was there for me, but I can honestly say it was the seasons when didn't nobody show up for me that God introduced me to me. I ain't preaching to everybody. I'm only preaching to 3 of y'all who didn't even know. Have you ever been catching so much hell that you was trying to find somebody to pray with you and everybody was busy? Then you got an attitude and start praying by yourself and messed around and scared yourself. You started out real cute. Lord, I need you. God, if you don't mind, just bless me. Then something kicked in, and I decree and declare right now in the name of Jesus. That's why I love having a praise partner, but don't get it twisted. If I got to praise God by myself, I'm going to have church by myself.
So there's been a black woman who's been holding it all, right? She's had a brilliant mouth and quiet eyes. She laughs like thunder and breaks like glass in secret. And she holds everyone's story while no one pauses it long enough to ask hers. And we don't have to pretend she's tired, right? Not just in her body, but in her spirit. And she's been holding the world like it's her fault if it fails. And they told her to be strong, to be loyal, to be better, to be healing, to be a mother, a muse, a machine, be everything except allowed to stop. So she did what they asked, and she held it all. Like, she held the weight of the mother who couldn't name, and the grandmother who survived without telling anyone, in the country that won't acknowledge her grief, and the rage she's not allowed to feel in public, and the softness that she's scared will be mistaken for weakness. But here's the thing, the weight she's been carrying is not even all hers, right? It's trauma passed down like a bloodline. It's grief from centuries back that no one grieved out loud. And it's protection that they had to grow because no one came to protect them. And it's real and it's heavy, and it's not your job to keep dragging it forever, because she's not just strong. You're not just exhausted. And being the strong one doesn't mean you get to break. There is a shelter. There's been a shelter, a sacrifice, a strategy. But when is the last time someone just asked you to be human? Because the world owes you a space to fall apart. Not because you failed, but because you've been stitched together by survival for far too long. And even survival has an expiration date. But the truth is far deeper than that. For that woman, she doesn't have to smile to be safe, and she doesn't have to be extraordinary to deserve softness, and she doesn't have to perform pain for anyone. Right? And you don't have to heal anybody but yourself. Not today. You're not weak. When you stop holding it, you're wise. Right? Like you raise babies, movements, lovers, systems, but now raise your own name, because she deserves to let herself be fed and herself to be seen, not just as a myth, but as a woman. So this poem could end. This whole little narrative could end, right? This whole little thing I'm speaking on. But the fire you built for everyone else, it can finally warm you, because more than enough has been done. And she's more than enough. And no one has to keep proving it. So there is a place to sit down, because no one has to hold it anymore. And this is one of the things I think is so integral about blackness, because most of blackness is a survival mechanism that we've concocted. But outside of our desperate need to survive is the rest. And I think for her it is.
If you haven't heard of Olive Morris, then I think you should have a Google of her and read about this incredible woman and feminist activist. She was born in Jamaica, raised in England in the 60s. And the thing that really stands out for me when I think about Olive is the incident that happened when she was 17 years old. She was going about her day, and she came across an incident where the police were trying to wrongfully arrest a diplomat called Clement Gomwalk, a Nigerian diplomat, for stealing his own car. And she, at 17 years old, decided to step in and intervene, and she was subjected to some horrendous physical abuse and God knows what else. You know, she had her head rammed into the police car, and all sorts of horrific things happened to her on the way to the station. But imagine in 60s Britain coming across a racist incident where the police are trying to wrongfully arrest a grown black man, and you, a 17-year-old girl, decide not today. You're not today. That's not happening. And you step in. That is courage. That is courage, no doubt about it. She went on to co-found the Brixton Black Women's Group, and I think also the organization of women of African and Haitian descent as well. But as if that wasn't enough, she was also really passionate about squatters' rights, and she set up the squat as well in the early 70s, which went on to be used as a women's center. And sadly, she died of cancer when she was only 27. So it's like 10 years of activism It's absolutely incredible. I mean, I look at my life and think, what have I achieved in, the last 10 years? Not even close. She's incredible. She was absolutely incredible.
So, family, at the end of the day, Black Americans are the foundation of America. Okay, they're the foundation of America. No matter what, they are not going anywhere. They will keep on standing, they will keep winning, and they will keep shining. Okay, if you love this video, please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, and of course support the channel by subscribing to the channel. See you guys in my next video. Bye.